The movie begins with Mason Pettits explaining that he initially aspired to be a lawyer but left law school after a year to enlist in the U.S. Army, seeking a more unconventional path. Excelling in training, he was selected for Special Forces, during which he fell in love with Jenny and had a daughter, Casey. While on a mission in Palonia, South America, to assassinate dictator Juan Vanegas, Mason's team is ambushed and killed, leaving him severely wounded. He returns home and resumes his law career. Years later, he and Jenny find themselves stuck in a monotonous suburban life. Mason is approached by his former boss, Sebastian Earle, now leading a private security firm, CDI, who offers him a job protecting a journalist traveling to Palonia for an interview with Vanegas. Though reluctant due to his past trauma, Mason ultimately accepts after being promised a $20,000 payment. Mason researches the journalist, Claire Wellington, who had previously fallen from grace due to a fact-checking scandal. After an argument with Jenny, Mason agrees to move out. Jenny is upset to learn about his dangerous mission, but he proceeds anyway. Mason meets Claire, and they fly to Palonia, where Vanegas himself picks them up. Claire and Vanegas bond over a mutual acquaintance, her college roommate Ellie. While Vanegas portrays his country positively, the citizens' lack of enthusiasm toward him is evident. On the way to Vanegas' estate, their convoy is ambushed by militants, killing all of Vanegas' security. Mason steps in, eliminating the attackers. Grateful, Vanegas claims it was an attempted coup. However, Mason wants to leave, while Claire insists on staying to cover the story. Meanwhile, Colonel Jan Cohorst receives word that his men have been wiped out. Mason, Claire, and Vanegas navigate the jungle as Mason contacts Sebastian for extraction. Meanwhile, Vanegas learns from his nephew, Jorge Vasquez, that he orchestrated the attack to seize power. Mason urges Claire to leave, but she is reluctant to abandon her chance for redemption. As they wait for extraction, mercenaries attack them, leading to a chase through the jungle. Mason kills most of them, and Vanegas arrives just in time to save them from the final attacker. Elsewhere, Jorge meets with Cohorst, who warns that his clients are displeased with Vanegas' survival and threatens him if the job isn't completed. During a conversation with Claire, Mason reveals his dissatisfaction with his life and separation from Jenny. Vanegas takes them to his hometown, where the locals admire him. Claire conducts a revealing interview where Vanegas admits that foreign powers backing his presidency sought to exploit the country's metal resources. That night, Claire attempts to seduce Mason, but he turns her down. Later, Mason contacts Sebastian and learns that his actual mission was to assassinate Vanegas. However, Jorge changed the plans. Sebastian reveals that South African mercenaries, led by Cohorst, aim to control Palonia's resources. Soon, Cohorst and his men attack the village, forcing Mason, Claire, and Vanegas to flee on horseback. During the chase, Mason and Vanegas escape, but Claire is captured. Vanegas confesses that he was aware of Jorge's assassination plot and Mason's past mission but clarifies that his men were not responsible for Mason's fallen comrades, it was competing contractors. He also admits to financially supporting the rebels as a propaganda tactic to boost nationalism. With Sebastian's help, Mason arranges a trade for Claire, but before the deal is finalized, an enraged mob of Palonians intervenes and attacks the mercenaries. Sneaking into the palace, Claire livestreams their infiltration. Vanegas and Jorge reconcile, but General Martinez arrives and shoots Vanegas. However, Vanegas survives and kills Martinez, though Jorge is fatally hit by a stray bullet. As South African mercenaries and the Palonian military engage in battle, Vanegas delivers a compelling speech that convinces the soldiers to side with him. A firefight erupts. During the chaos, Mason faces off against Cohorst, who admits to killing Mason's men. Just as Cohorst gains the upper hand, Claire intervenes, knocking him out. Mason fights off the remaining mercenaries until Sebastian and his reinforcements arrive, forcing the South Africans to retreat. Claire's courageous reporting gains international attention. In the aftermath, Vanegas steps down and announces Palonia's first free election, pledging investments in healthcare and education. Mason returns home, reconciling with Jenny and Casey. He later discovers that Venegas has gifted him $5 million. Realizing his true purpose, Mason chooses to focus on his family.